Okay, welcome to the Whistleblower.
Hello, everybody. I'm Philip Bauer. Today's guests are John Fox, Noel Harrod, and live from Tokyo, we have Russel McKinnon. Russell, what's it like there?
It's an interesting concept to be here, where you get to go to the airport, to the hotel, you get a bus to the pool, you go back to the hotel, and you can't step out of the confines of the hotel. You can't go onto public roads. You can't go anywhere other than stay in your hotel and stay in the Olympic venue.
Right. So, how's the food? All right.
Very interesting. You have a large banquet hall to come into, and you've got to sit three to a table, with a screen between you. And you get a good breakfast, a good buffet breakfast, but dinner time I'm insisting on sandwiches because by the time you get back after 10:15 at night, I've still got work to do, and food goes off at 11 o'clock. And by the time you get a tin of Asahi in your hand, you don't want to walk all the way down to the banquet hall and eat at that time of night.
Right. So I'm going to talk to you about the girls' game and what you saw of it, if you spoke to any of the players or coaches afterwards, and just your feelings on how they played.
Yeah, I'll just go through my notes because I get to talk to everybody after the match, or a lot of people after the match. I talked to Rowie Webster. She was quite excited about the way that they did play, and that they did control it, because I also talked to Canada, and they are a bit disappointed because Canada's had such a good run this year, and it put the two teams together, one that had been on the road for 3 months and one that had stuck at home for 3 months. So I don't think it really decided which one was better, because I really think Australia is the better team anyway. So, and I think the team is really 3 goals better than Canada.
Yeah. So that win got us out of a quarter-final against USA if everything goes to plan.
So, sorry, who goes to USA?
No, if everything goes to plan, we won't have a crossover with the USA.
Yeah, and nobody wants that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russell, are you saying, just comparing Canada and Australia, you're saying the difference in the lead-up, no one knows what the effects of that is, or if there was any effect, because the 3 goals seems to be a pretty good reflection, I would have thought, also of the difference between the two teams.
Yeah, indeed. They were quite insistent, Canada, that they would commit to 4 months away from home and do what they did. They were very happy with the way it went. They're working well with their combinations. That was all great. But we saw at the super final, where they win the group and then they fall away and finish 4th. So I think that was probably a reflection on tiredness for the amount of time they went. And I think they've freshened up for this and came in and played very well. They were happy with that, but of course not happy with the fact that, really Australia is the better side.
Yeah. Did you get to talk to any of the Australian coaches?
I've got to think. I talked to Beck Rippon, had a good chat to her. I should go through my notes. I should have gone freshly through my notes what I talked to her, but I put the full quotes up on the FINA website, and really they were quite happy with the way it went. And of course, it being that first up match, I think they were a little bit nervous about it. But as Beck said, I think they started working to the plan and they stuck with the plan. She said it didn't always come off, but they still stuck with what they tried to do.
Yeah, right. Their shooting was way down though. They scored 8 from 29 all up, which is 28%, and an extra. Not that game had many extras. They only scored 1 from 5. Have you got any feedback on why Bronwyn Knox didn't play a lot? She only played 11 minutes.
No, didn't talk about that because it's quite. You're watching some of the teams here and who they're dropping for that 13th person out, and quite a few teams are dropping the goalkeeper. But you know, I was talking to Pietro Figlioli yesterday. You know, he was up in the stands. Jesse Smith from the USA in the stands. You know, those older guys, they don't want to tire them out on matches that they can easily win. And I think there's going to be a lot of people doing that sort of thing, protecting their older players, because this competition, an unbelievable amount of players, you know, well into their 30s, their 4th and 5th Olympics. Yeah. And, you know, I can see immediately after this Olympics so many teams changing. And I think Bronwyn, you know, I saw her come in, she played, she was out. And I think that they're probably just saving these people, these types of people.
Yeah, right.
So Russell, today, obviously, the women are playing the Netherlands, and we haven't seen the Netherlands play yet. We've seen them play in Europe. How do you see the matchup?
It's interesting because watching them earlier this year, the Olympic qualification tournament, you know, they've got good players. They're all round the pool, very good. But once again, it's been a long time since they played. And we, you know, we discussed last week about the delay day that they have, the bye that they have. And you've got to understand, is that good? You know, the Dutch have had their bye. So now they just go into their 4 matches straight. Is that a good thing? And we don't know. You know, our girls have had the benefit of having played a match, and now I think they'll be very settled against the Dutch, whereas the Dutch have got to come in with those first match nerves. Because talking to just about everybody, you know, like talking to Serbia, Dejan Savic yesterday, you know, the nerves of all these players, it's a pretty rough time because they haven't played, you know, like a world championship for a while, and that extra year has made a big difference on the stage, as we saw with Serbia losing, Hungary losing, etc.
Well, let's move on to the men then, Russell. Who did you speak to after the Australian game yesterday, and your feelings on it?
Talked to Aaron Younger. Was one. He was quite, you know, said they worked everything they wanted to do, and this was with Elvis too. He said we worked the way we wanted to do. We came out very well. We did everything right, and he said we just couldn't sustain it. Things just didn't go right. It just didn't happen, and he couldn't understand really how it dropped away. And we saw right at the start, you know, incredible passing from our team. And I thought that they have more structure and more idea of what they were doing on attack than Montenegro did. And then there was one occasion down this end here where they went snap, snap, snap with the ball, and the shot was taken from the left-hand catch and it hit the far upright. And then that should have gone in. And if it did, it would have been a brilliant goal. And then from there on, we just dropped back a bit and we lost a bit of confidence. And then Montenegro, while not playing pretty water polo, came back the way it did, very solid and intimidating, and really did a job, you know, the way they did. And of course, you know, talking to the Montenegro coach, you know, he said, I said, oh, it was a pretty interesting match. And it wasn't interesting for us in the first half. You know, that was the way it was. It was quite an odd game. And if our guys just held it together for probably the third quarter, it would be a totally different result. It was very upsetting to see the goal difference go to 5 at the end. That was, you know, with that VAR decision, the missed penalty that we could have got at that time. You know, it could have been a little different because it switched to the other end of the pool, a goal, and then they ran away with it.
While you're talking, while you spoke about the VAR decision, because it's very hard watching TV to know, but did the referee blow a goal and then go to VAR?
Yes, he did.
He did, right.
Yeah, blew a goal, and it sort of all, no, sorry, I'll say that again. The shot was taken, it went, I don't think it went in.
No.
It came out, and then our man turned and then was mothered by while trying to get the ball to take a shot. And then he blew the whistle, and called a goal. He thought about it, and things happened suddenly, and then they went, and of course the whole thing was they go, oh, no goal, we'll give it to the other side because the goalkeeper had it. But in the interim, the centre forward was fouled, which would have given a penalty, and that's where Elvis got upset on the side of the pool. He was screaming out and waving his arms at the referee, and you know, that was one of those occasions where the referee was uncertain and thought it was a goal, but you know, I'm on the halfway line here. I'm sure it wasn't a goal.
Yeah, the question is, if he actually ruled a goal and then went to VAR, the rule says it starts with the goalkeeper.
Right.
But
Yeah,
if he hadn't whistled for a goal and had just stopped the game to double check, then he's taken away the opportunity of us getting a penalty.
Yeah, that was, and the fact that that Montenegro just went to the other end and scored straight away. You know, the guys were a little bit shell shocked at that point, and it was a little bit disconcerting, and it just added to that disappointment, really.
Yeah, it was a real momentum breaker and common sense. And we understand what the rule is, where the ball does have to go back to the goalkeeper. But common sense says there was an actual period of play where the ball was still alive, and that was definitely a penalty. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's something that maybe they have to look back and consider that it's not automatically go back to the goalkeeper because they thought it was a goal, and it was pretty clear from the television it wasn't a goal straight up.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, it was 4 minutes 30 from the end. You're 9-12 down. You know, if you got that penalty, you're back to only 2 goals again, still with a long way to go in that game, and that might have given them a bit more confidence to come back up again.
Certainly would have kept the score closer, wouldn't it? At least kept the score closer.
Yes, yeah, and as I say, 5 goals was not the difference in that match.
And that's so crucial. That's so crucial, that 5 goals, because if we get down to a situation where we draw against Serbia or Spain, that's going to come into consideration. And to get back, we need to win another one of these games by 3, 4, 5 goals just to get our goal difference back on par again.
Yeah, and people don't understand that, you know, you could be 10, 15 goals ahead and you call a timeout to get an extra goal at a vital period, and people don't understand that goal difference is for later, because you don't know if the team you're playing is going to lose every match or it's going to jag a victory, and you need to get those that goal difference down.
So Russell, how do you see the Croatian game coming? It's a bit hard to tell. Croatia, Kazakhstan was a bit of a blowout. So, but how do you think we're going to go there?
Well, that was, you know, like 4-1 at quarter time, 10-4 at half time. It didn't look 10-4, and you know, we understand that Croatia had this little problem at Rotterdam to become the last team to qualify for the Olympics as the reigning champion. They got in, they didn't look anything good in that first half, but then after that, things started happening, and then they played their normal style of water polo, I think, and to Kazakhstan's credit, they put away a few goals, but you talk to Nemanja Knežević, the coach, afterwards, and he was just bereft. He said they'd never played so bad in all their life. They had a good super final. They played very well in the super final, and it was quite obvious yesterday they were struggling. And Knežević said, I think they were afraid. My team was afraid, you know, Croatia should have gone much better than what it did, but it was a shaky start, and it was just that first match that you had to get out of the road. And as they say, you know, the tournament starts now.
Yeah. So Russell, this is your 6th Olympics?
Sorry?
Is this your 6th Olympics or 7th?
6th Olympics, yeah.
Yep. 6th Olympics. So you've seen a lot. What's the atmosphere like compared to the past for the players? Now, I know the players and the officials, the referees, will be a bit nervous. They haven't done much this year. It'll be very difficult. But no crowd as well. No crowd. So what's it like?
Yeah. a few comments from some of the players saying it feels strange, you know, to not have a crowd cheering, and it is that you know, when you look around the other side, Sharon Collis is the only one sitting over the other side. You know, she's working for the broadcasting people, and a complete set of stands and one person in it. And up here, you know, there's referees and there's hangers on, and VIPs turn up, and John Coates comes along, and you know, whatever. But it's odd, and it's really only by the noise you have in the background from the audio that you can get a bit of feel for it.
Do any of the teams, or are the other teams allowed to stay and watch?
Yeah, they not many are hanging around. I hear that some of our women have come to support the men to support the women, but not many of them are coming up into the stand at all, if any. I think they're on the bus and they're out of there. It's not as if they're not encouraged to. They can do, but they just don't.
It's interesting from the television perspective. We only see the one side of the pool, which has no spectators at all. But you're saying that there are some teams staying around, and actually some teams from other sports can come and watch. And I don't know, maybe it would be nice to have a grab of those in the commentary like they do with the swimming, just to show there is some support there.
Yeah, and in the swimming pool, I've been over there, and I've only been there for the training and stuff like that. But, you know, they've got a lot of people around, and that, you know, it probably holds 20,000 people in there. But it's sort of dressed up in such a way with all the media tribunes that it does look as though it's a little full, and there's a bit of activity, and there is that bit of activity around here. But, you know, we can fit 12,000. I wouldn't have thought it'd be 12. It must be 4,000 or 5,000 in this arena. And, you know, pretty damn empty.
Yeah. Russell, I know you've got to go soon because you've got to work on the next game. We all watched Spain play Serbia yesterday, and it seemed like a great game. What was it like live?
It was fantastic. You know, it was, you watched Spain play. You could see Dejan Savic on the side, frustrated as hell. You know, it was, they were playing and doing things, but Spain looked better. Spain looked controlled the whole time, and there was no emotion as such. They just went and played. You know, that game was tied up 5 or 6 times up to 10 all, and it was. But you still knew that Spain was the better side. Serbia kept coming back. It was more desperation from them, whereas Spain just held it together. And when Alvaro Manares, he scored 2 goals in midway through that final quarter, and then it just gave that 2-goal buffer again, and they struggled to come back. You know, Filipovic got one near the end, at the end, just to trim it down, but great defence, but great attack and composure from the Spaniards. It's a bit like the Greeks playing Hungary. It was that similar thing, desperation from one side and composition from the other.
Russell, I know we've got to let you go. Anyone else got a question?
Just quickly, the girls' team this afternoon, has that been announced? Who's sitting out?
Yes, it has. I can give it to you. I do have it right here. We have left out our number 1 goalkeeper, Leah Yanitsis has been left out.
Thank you.
Russell, one last question I always like to ask. How have you seen the refereeing so far?
You know, there's been some funny ones. I've seen penalties not called at one end and called at the other. There's some odd calls that are not made, but I think that's a generality, really. And I thought really that there had been a couple. There was one penalty not given. That was a straight penalty for one team on day 1 for the women. I know early for the men yesterday, and then our one from Australia, which was a bit of an oddity as well. So, yeah, I've been fairly happy with it from my point of view. I I haven't jumped on anything except for that one VAR decision.
It's looked pretty good from here, and as for the referees, as the players, they haven't done anything for a long time, so they need to settle in as well.
So
does
Russell,
Nicola have
you'll
a
be
game
back
today?
Wednesday with us, same time, and
Yep, same.
then Friday.
Yep, perfect.
We'll
Perfect.
see you then.
Does Nick